train wings toward the Eindhoven-Nijmegen area of Holland with supplies and reinforcements following initial landings of the 1st Allied Airborne Army. Dropping supplies just south of Nijmegen. Here, airborne infantrymen are engaged in securing important bridges and flanking the northern anchor of the Siegfried Line. During the entire Netherlands airborne operation, American planes and gliders alone carried nearly 6 million pounds of supplies and equipment. The following scenes were made with a camera strapped to the chest of a parachutist. A heavy concentration of anti-aircraft fire brings further losses in Allied planes, indicating a vigorous attempt on the part of the enemy to stem an Allied drive north from Nijmegen. Glider planes bring in reinforcements to help broaden the Eindhoven-Nijmegen corridor and attempt to establish contact with encircled elements of the British 1st Airborne Division on the north bank of the Lech River. Operating with British forces during the whole period of the airborne invasion were nearly 6,000 American planes and gliders. Of this number, less than 3% were lost, despite fierce enemy opposition. At Toulon, which fell on 26th August, an inspection is made of the harbor area. Extensive Allied bombings and Nazi demolitions leveled most of the big installations. This torpedo plant was in full production just prior to the entry of 7th Army troops. The lathes are still in place. On a mountain overlooking the harbor is Fort de C4, built by the French in 1877 and used by the Germans when they occupied southern France. An 88mm gun which guarded the fort has a blown-out breech. Fort de la Croix-Faron, built in 1873. French coastal guns are set up at strategic points near the fort. Guns and forts were rendered unusable by Allied bombings before D-Day. In 1936, the French installed 320mm dual naval guns to strengthen Toulon's defenses. A rangefinder and plotting installation. B-24s flying hundreds of miles to the north from bases on Waikiki Island attacked the Palau archipelago. The frequent bombings helped to neutralize the enemy's offensive power prior to amphibious invasions. These islands constitute a strategic barrier to the Philippines. Mindanao is some 500 miles due east. The Japs had developed the Palaus as a principal advanced naval base and assembly point for fuel, ammunition, and supplies passing between Japan and the Southwest Pacific. Coordinated with the land-based heavy bomber sorties is carrier aircraft support from Task Force 58. Torpedo bombers and their fighter escorts leave flight decks to join in the attacks. The combined operations greatly reduced the importance of the Palaus as a Japanese fleet anchorage and air base. In conjunction with the aircraft, surface vessels of Admiral William F. Halsey's Third Fleet move in to attack gun emplacements, pillboxes, and other defenses on the beaches and inland. The assault is concentrated mainly on Peleliu and Angkor Islands. 5 successive days of bombing and shelling climaxed the pre-invasion foray. September, initial forces head for Peleliu for first landings in the Palau group. The shelling of the island continues, supplemented by fire from landing craft. Marines of the 1st Division, commanded by Major General William S. Rupertus, drive in force toward the beaches. Reports from Peleliu credit the relatively light losses to the extremely effective call fire and close support fire from the warships offshore, and to the accuracy of bombings by the carrier-based aircraft. Peleliu was chosen for the first attack because it contains the best airfield of the archipelago. Within the island, the Jap garrison is holding out in pillboxes, caves, and trenches. The strongest point of resistance is along a low coral ridge, nicknamed Bloody Nose Ridge by the Marines. A command post and communication system are quickly set up. Meanwhile, Marines move on the airfield against stiffening resistance. Jap dead in the first 2 days of fighting total 1,458. Our lines advanced to the northern and eastern limits of the airfield, which is captured by noon of the 16th. Wrecked bombers, fighters, and transports are found by the Marines. Construction equipment is brought up to the beaches and driven to the airfield. A power shovel speeds the job of whipping the airstrip into shape. Natural coral deposits provide surfacing material. The airdrome has 2 runways, both approximately 4,000 feet long, with 460-foot turning circles at either end. From here, our fighter planes can strike against the entire Palau group. First landings on the captured airfield. Army troops of the 81st Division, which successfully invaded nearby Angkor Island, helped end the fierce fighting for Peleliu.